Welcome back to Leaving Cert Plus. This is lesson 1.3, one of the most important lessons of this video tutorial series. We're focusing on working with variables, which is basically trying to isolate this x. So we're going to do a lot of these questions, and we're just going to try to isolate that x. So first of all, let's look at the opposites table. If you look at maybe an equation, x plus 3 is equal to 4. A lot of you will know is that you have to move over that 3 and turn its sign negative. So we got x is equal to 4 minus 3, so x is equal to 1. So this is the top half. What do? We had a plus, we undid that plus with a minus. We basically took 3 from both sides. It's the same then if you have a minus 3. So if you had a minus 3, you'd move it over and you'd turn it positive. So now you found x is equal to 7. Okay, this is quite obvious, the top half. But if we look at the multiply and divide, you want to think about it that if you have one situation, you want to undo that with the other. So if I have something like 3x is equal to 5. So 3x is equal to 5. I want to try to get that x by itself. What's happening here is the 3 is being multiplied by the x. So I don't want that multiplication to happen. I want that x by itself. So what we need to do is undo that multiplication with its opposite, division. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. That's going to get rid of that 3, and I've got x is equal to 5 over 3. So now I've isolated the x. But what we've done is we undid that multiplication with division. So similarly, if I have division occurring, and I want to undo that, I can use multiplication. So if I have x over 3 is equal to 5, I want to undo that division. So x is being divided by 3, and this is what I want by itself. So I'm going to multiply across by 3. That's going to get rid of this fraction, and it's going to isolate my x. So x is equal to 15, divided by the 3. So to undo one, you use the opposite side of the table. Finally then, we're going to look at the power and the root. So if I have, we'll say, the third root of x. The third root of x is equal to 2. If I want to find what x is, I'm going to have to take the power of 3 to both sides. So that's how I'm going to get rid of that root. So the root and the power are opposites, they're going to cancel each other. So this is the third power by the third root are going to cancel, and you're going to be left with x on the left hand side, and that's 2 cubed, which is actually going to be 8. Okay, so I undo the root with the power. Similarly, if I have maybe the opposite situation, if I have maybe x to the power of 7 is equal to 4, well, if I want to find what x is, I'm going to have to get the 7th root of both sides. So the 7th root of both sides is going to get rid of that power of 7. I've got x alone on the left hand side, and that's the 7th root of 4 as my answer. Just to note, if we have the square root is the same thing as saying the second root like that. Okay, so to undo that then we're going to square both sides. I'd like you to try these questions. So try the first two. Pause the video and give these a go. Okay, so for the first one we have 3 being multiplied by x is equal to 4. We're trying to find the value of x. This is 3 multiplied by x. So to undo that multiplication, we're going to divide across by 3. You find x is equal to 4 over 3. The second one then, we first of all have to get rid of this fraction. So x squared is being divided by 14. Let's multiply across by 14. So if we multiply both sides by 14, that's going to cancel the 14 here. And I have 2 by 14. So that will be x squared is equal to 28. So next, I'm nearly there. I need to just get rid of this square. So how do I get rid of that? We have the root to undo the power. So I'm taking the square root of both sides, and I'll have x is equal to the square root of 28. Remember, our root undoes the power. 3 more questions. Pause the video and give them a go. So here we've got x cubed is equal to 8. If I want to find x alone, I'm going to have to get the third root of both sides. That's going to undo that power. So we got x is equal to the third root of 8, which is going to be 2. Up here, first of all, I can't access that 19x until I get rid of this root. So you can't access what you have in here until you get rid of that root. So to get rid of that root, I'm going to take 4 to the power of both sides because we have the 4th root. So 4 to the power of both sides, that's going to leave me with 19x, and 2 to the power of 4 is going to be 16. So now we've got 19 multiplied by x, which is what I want alone. So to undo that multiplication, I have to divide by 19. So we're going to find x is equal to 16 over 19. And that's your answer. Down here, similar to what we've seen up here, we couldn't access the 19x until we got rid of the root. So I can't access the 3x until I get rid of this root. So I'm going to square both sides to start off with. That's going to leave me with 3x is equal to 4 squared, which is 16. Now I have to divide across by 3 because we have 3 being multiplied by what I want by itself. So let's undo that multiplication with division. We've got x is equal to 16 over 3 as my answer. We got 2 more questions. Pause the video and give these a go. So first of all, let's get rid of that fraction. What I'm trying to get by itself is this x. So let's work towards that. First of all, getting rid of the fraction. So multiplying across by 17 is going to get rid of this division. So we've got 3x squared is equal to 17 times root 3. Next, I have a 3 multiplied by the x squared. So let's divide across by the 3 to start off with. So I could take the square root of both sides, but that wouldn't help really because I'd have the square root of 3. So it'd be awkward to deal with. Best to get rid of that 3 first of all, and then deal with the squared. So now I've got rid of the 3. So we got x squared is equal to 17 over root 3, or 17 root 3 over 3. And then I want to get rid of this squared. So how do I do that? I have to take the second root, or the square root of both sides. That's going to leave me with x is equal to the square root of 17 root 3 over 3, and that's your answer. Over here is a similar situation. If you made a mistake in this question and you want to try correct it now by pausing the video and trying this one. So first of all, you want to multiply across by 21. So multiplying across by 21 is going to get rid of that fraction. We'll have 4x cubed is equal to 21 times 7, or times root 7. So now you want to divide across by 4. So if we divide across by 4, you're undoing that multiplication. You've got x cubed is equal to 21 root 7 over 4. Now you want to get rid of this third power by taking the third root of both sides. So the third root is going to get rid of that third power, and you'll be left with x. So x is equal to the third root of 21 root 7 all over 4. Okay, so that's just practicing using one to undo the other. Okay, and that really helps with regards to our isolation of variables, a really, really important skill throughout the entire higher level maths course. That's all for lesson 1.3. Thanks for watching Leaving Cert Plus. I hope that made sense. I'll see you again in lesson 1.4.
If you like this video, you'll love our notes. You can get some for free in the link in the description of this video.